Podcasting since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts Radio Network. KingofPodcasts.com.
John Cena says, I'm going to go all in on Red 17.
Podcasting since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts Radio Network. KingofPodcasts.com.
John Cena reaches the roulette table and says, I want to go all in on Red 17.
Woo! Hey, this is the Nature Boy Rick Flair. And believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it. Because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
The worldwide leader of podcasting excellence. The King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents The Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
Welcome to the night 2 recap of WrestleMania 41 here on the Wrestling is Real podcast. King of Podcasts here with you. Of course, you find the show wherever you find podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, among other outlets. And of course, on the YouTube feed, at King of Podcasts, you can find everything that I just talked about at my website, kingofpodcasts.com. And if you didn't get a chance to go and catch night 1, my recap of that, I put it up there on the website, also on the YouTube channel. Go ahead and look for that. There's going to be some other things I'll talk about that I will table until the Wednesday night show. The regular program, there's a lot to untangle from all this, but we want to just go to the results of what happened. There's comments that I got from last night's show. I'm sure I'll have comments from tonight's show. The first thing off the bat, John Cena wins his 17th world title. The world title count doesn't really matter. Ric Flair went on X and congratulates John Cena on winning. Fine. No problem there. John Cena winning the undisputed WWE title was not the problem for me at all. But we are basically going to mention the fact that the heel turn that John Cena made that initiated all this at Elimination Chamber, when he wins the Elimination Chamber to win the right to go up against Cody Rhodes. And then we get this heel turn, which The Rock initiated with Travis Scott. Let's mention that. Well, The Rock, nowhere to be found throughout the entire run of this heel turn. And then we go to WrestleMania tonight. Maybe The Rock will show up and be a part of this whole triumvirate of Rock, Travis Cena, and Travis Scott and John Cena. Maybe we'll get that. But we don't. What we get is we get Travis Scott coming out to add plunder to the match. And because Travis Scott gets involved while there was the second ref bump, which they were both crappy, by the way, on Chad Patton, Cody Rhodes is caught up with Travis Scott. And because of that, John Cena is able to hit Cody Rhodes with the belt, AA, and done. And with that, John Cena has become world champion again. All right, fine. He's champion again. The booking of him as the champion right now is the heel champion. Fine. We could do something more with him as a heel champion going forward and now have him just take on all takers, because the clock is on right now as to what happens. If John Cena is able to go ahead and now hold on to the belt long enough to take it home and finish retiring with the belt. That's the storyline we have left, which keeps it open for a lot of different opponents. That's fine. At least we got that to work off of going forward. Now, there are a lot of stars here out of this WrestleMania that did not come out really well. So Braun Breaker loses the IC title. That's not good for him. Gunther loses the World Heavyweight title. Not good for him. And back-to-back WrestleMania losses. And then you get Liv Morgan, who won the Women's World title off of Becky Lynch last year. Only for this year, Becky Lynch to come in a cameo role because Bayley got hurt or something happened where Becky Lynch comes in and then Becky pins Liv to help her and her buddy Lyra Valkyria win the women's tag team titles. It's like, and then we talked about Roman Reigns. There was nothing coming from this at all from his loss last night. These are all these names that are here that they didn't do anything for. Well, let's look at the ones that he actually worked on and did something with. So with John Cena, like I said, Cody Rhodes now, To lose the belt to John Cena, that's not a big deal to me. And the way Cody lost was pretty bad. Like, John Cena kind of like had the heads up, but then Cody Rhodes being able to hit crossroads several times on John Cena and getting the upper hand in promos, the writing was on the wall for that. So there's nothing there to be said about that. That's fine, whatever. They didn't go very long, but we'll get back to John Cena and Cody Rhodes in a little bit. We'll talk about that. What was a very well done match overall. Triple threat for the women's world title with Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. Look, well, these three are NXT stalwarts and have worked with each other numerous times on the main roster. So chemistry in between these stars, that was something that was missing in a lot of matches I saw last night. Because when I was looking at Jade Cargill and Naomi, and Jey Uso and Gunther and Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, there's a lot missing on the fact that these stars, and even with El Grande Americano and Rey Fenix, there's quite a bit of chemistry that's not there because they haven't had any time to work with each other. Just kind of worked off of it. But what they got worth on the women's world title match, I don't know. Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, you don't want either one of them to win the belt? I thought Bianca Belair would have been a shoo-in tonight. They want to keep the belt in the Io Sky. But there's no plan for her. The fact that she's women's world champion again, what do you do with her next? I don't know. I really don't have an idea of what happens next with Io Sky and what you do with her. She just is the belt holder now, and that's it. I don't know if there's anything that's a follow-up between either of these stars going forward. But hey, the smart crowd, no, they were all into Io Sky winning, I guess. Well, whatever, that's done. It's all taken care of. But the match was good. They did a lot of good things with each other. The triple threat where they all did moves to each other and it was all well choreographed. That was really nice and great. A lot of good near falls, fine. But there's not much to be said about that. My thing is, Io Sky now stays champion, clearly defeating Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. That was the point they wanted to make in this whole match. Well, what do we get from that? Where do you go with her next? I don't see any plans. I mean, after she wins this, we don't even see another opponent for her. I don't know what we're going to get from her. I don't know. Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. Okay, so the Sin City Street fight, the fact that they got to... Initially, the storyline could have told itself. Everything that happened at WrestleMania last year. They didn't focus on that at all. If they did talk at all about Damian Priest getting the upper hand on pinning Drew McIntyre after he won because he cashed in the Money in the Bank, I just want to know, was that even brought up really clearly in storyline at all during their promos? I don't know if it was. I don't remember it. If it was, it just blew by. That should have been like hit over the head. It should have been hit over the head. Oh, you want to use Money in the Bank and you think you can go and just cash in on me and I'm not going to do anything about it. You know, after I deal with CM Punk, after I finish CM Punk, I need to go ahead and take care of you. But CM Punk got the upper hand, right? Or I don't know. I forget who even won that feud. But either which way, Drew McIntyre's now at this point, and he needs to go ahead and avenge someone taking his world title opportunity. The fact that he won the title, had it for a couple of minutes, and Damian Priest takes it away from him. The embarrassment of WrestleMania, we could have kept that kind of lingering on for a little while. But we never got to that. We never got any storyline or anything to build up off of that. Like I saw the package we saw tonight leading up to it. Where was all that stuff embedded into the storyline? Like they're just using past clips to build the storyline for us for this match here, which I guess you could just run that every week. We didn't even need Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest beating up on each other. It didn't even matter. But they missed that part. Regardless, Drew McIntyre gets his win back. Fine. And Damian Priest now, after being World Heavyweight Champion, after breaking off a new Judgment Day and everything else going on, now he's kind of like in just a spot. Not sure what to do with him now either. But I guess they've made his run with him. There's not much else they want to do with him, I guess. I don't know. They could do a couple of things, I guess, with him. I guess they won't just leave him in that main event level. They'll kind of take him down lower in the mid-card and put him in something else, I guess. Another feature feud. I don't know. Now, one of the match results that I was really happy about was to see Dominik Mysterio become Intercontinental Champion. I love that. Braun Breaker did not get pinned. That was smart. It was Finn Balor. And I was listening to another show before I got on here about the idea that, well, why does Dominik Mysterio need to go ahead and have this belt? And now the deal is that Liv Morgan lost her tag team title with Raquel Rodriguez. So Finn, Liv, Raquel, all in a bad way tomorrow. And then Dominik Mysterio right now being IC champion, maybe we're going to finally get a rift of the Judgment Day, and then Dominik just drops out, breaks up with Liv, breaks away from the whole Judgment Day, goes on his own. Because that crowd did not boo him. The crowd tonight in Vegas cheered Dominik Mysterio. They turned him face tonight. And I don't even know if they expected to do that, but it's obvious. The crowd cheered him tonight after he wins the belt. He goes out on the post show. They cheer him again. He is over now. They wanted to cheer him. And I think all the stuff with Liv Morgan right now and just being kind of like, a priss, I think breaking all that up, I'm fine with that. Let's get Dominik Mysterio to go face. I'm okay with that. At this point, he's been heel for so long. He got all his heat. People want to like him now. It's that turnaround they got to have. So let it go. Let Dominik Mysterio be the IC champion. Fine. Now, you can have other people go up. I mean, with Braun Breaker, yeah, he doesn't get to hold these belts. But that's the part where I also don't think Braun Breaker needed to be a champion right away. Let's build this guy up. You put the belt on him so quickly, took it away for Sami Zayn, then brought it in, took it away again for Jey Uso, wasn't it? I'm like, where are we going here? Oh, Jey Uso didn't win it, right? I can't even remember. But all I know is that Braun Breaker and Penta have nothing to work with right now. Nothing to be talked about, nothing to be had. So I don't know what to think about that. But I think the outcome of Dominik Mysterio, he is a star that you need to be building up for. And to get him out of this whole Dirty Dom thing, like the Dirty Dom thing, I guess, remember this run its course? And the thing is, it was really great when him and Rhea Ripley were together and the whole build-up of that, which I like that part. But now I'm thinking about the fact that Dominik Mysterio has built himself so much into a character was the only important thing about the Judgment Day left. Because when Rhea Ripley went out of there and it was all just Dominik Mysterio, I'm sorry, there's no one else in that group that makes a difference. And Dominik Mysterio obviously wants to go a different route. They're already kind of talking about he was looking at trying to recruit Penta into the group. So there's a change there. And who knows what they're going to do. But Dominik Mysterio, IC champion, I'm all fine with that there. Because there's a lot of people you can go after. I mean, there's a lot of people that he's already kind of screwed over and gotten pissed off at, that he's gotten people pissed off at him, that you can do something with. But one of the things I think you need to do with Dominik Mysterio is that you can go and continue to have other opponents with him. You don't need to make him go one-on-one for the IC title. He should actually continue to be having matches which are triple threats or fatal four-ways. So he can continue to win the IC title. Still be the heel, but the thing is he's basically a tweener now. And I think you could go and do that. That would work for me. What was disappointing as well for some people, I mean, Dominik Mysterio was not disappointing to me. Some other people might have been disappointed by him winning that belt tonight. But what was really disappointing tonight, but I mean, I'm not surprised at all, is that TNA gets the showcase for the open challenge with Randy Orton. It's Joe Hendry that makes the call. Now, Joe Hendry has not been on the main roster at all. Am I right? Joe Hendry has not been featured on Raw or SmackDown at all. He was in the Royal Rumble, but that's it. I don't remember him being in anything else. The only time that main roster would have seen him at all was the Royal Rumble. That's it. Otherwise, NXT for a little bit, concert, couple of matches where he didn't win, or if he won, it was not for a title. Nothing of importance or consequence happened with Joe Hendry being on NXT. And that goes for the rest of the TNA roster that comes on over. For TNA, there's no promotion for Rebellion coming up in next week, right? That's coming up now. And there's not one word. Like, what good is that where TNA is going to have their pay-per-view coming up next week and no mention of it, nothing to be said about that. It's just a matter of, oh, he's out here But Joe Henry's already got a triple threat match he's got to go ahead and deal with coming up. No answer. Nothing to be said about it at all. So, wow. You just got the guy beaten up and RKO'd twice by Randy Orton because that's all it's going to be. Nothing else goes on. It pretty much sucks. And I don't know what they're going to do about that, but TNA wants to have a star in here. You use this for the open challenge. You could have had other stars. I didn't think it was going to be Rusev. I didn't think it was going to be Aleister Black. I didn't care about those anyway being here either. But there could have been somebody else you could have brought in. I don't know who else. Remember there's somebody you had also that was going to be returning? I don't know. But what they decided to go and do, you put Randy Orton out here. The match is done. Open challenge. I wouldn't even have had this happen at WrestleMania. I would have preferred Randy Orton have a match or an open challenge on the Raw after WrestleMania. That should have happened tomorrow night. But they're not going to do that. Because they had to have Randy Orton on WrestleMania because he's been featured so many times. They put him here. This doesn't matter. And I don't care what anybody says. 3 minutes of Joe Henry being out there and the way they made him look like a goof. Because he gets to do his pose. And then here comes the RKO. Oh, I'm going to look good on camera, but you know what? You just buried the TNA champion. The inferiority of WWE for the fact that, okay, they might position them somewhat because if we're putting them on NXT programming, we can kind of make them look kind of cool. We can make them look legitimate. But the main roster, oh no. Forbidden. Forbidden. Because if you're going to the main roster, yeah, you could be in the Rumble for about 5-10 minutes and then you get kicked out. That's fine. But if you're going to put somebody in with Randy Orton, you're going to give him a glorified squash. The TNA World Heavyweight Champion is the wrong choice for TNA. So I don't know who's running the show over there now since the changes from Scott D'Amore and what Anthem Entertainment's decided to do in their partnership here. I mean, yeah, there's other people in that roster that could have come on over, but no, they decided to go this route, and Joe Henry was put out to slaughter. For Randy Orton to look good, because Backlash is in St. Louis next month. That's it. Logan Paul, AJ Styles. I know a lot of people might have been upset because AJ Styles lost this match, but look, Logan Paul is the upside here. And AJ Styles, I don't know how long his contract is left. I don't even know if we're going to know about that yet, but it's obvious that they're looking at the fact that there's not much more to be said about what happened with AJ Styles coming back and being involved in this. Because honestly, like last year of his, after the whole thing with him going up against Cody Rhodes, loses twice in pay-per-view, and then that's it. And I'm like, and last year he had a LA Knight, right? In a featured match. Like AJ Styles is just kind of just like running through the motions right now. Not much else going on for him that he has to be concerned about. But yeah, I'm wondering if something's going to happen where we might see him come off a contract. I don't know, but at the moment, nothing to be said about it yet. I mean, we don't see anything about a contract run out for him anyway, as far as we know. But the match looked good. Logan Paul looked good in there. He normally does on pay-per-view. Look, he's got some access here. He's given some VIP treatment. He's the influencer here. He has a celebrity status to him. So for him to be in these matches is one thing that's very important so that he gets some draw from the crowd. Look, Logan Paul and his brother Jake, they're going to be doing a series that's going to be on Max right now. So there's that. Plus the constant things they're doing with each other when it comes to Jake Paul and his boxing matches and whatever else Logan Paul's got his hands in on. That's keeping them in the limelight without WWE. But either which way, WWE is going to continue to use Logan Paul as they have under the contract, what they have. And there's nobody they have right now that's going to go up against him and lose, and they're going to give him a loss. They just don't want to do that. So they're going to go with that. They already had the loss anyway with where LA Knight got the win back on the U.S. title anyway, otherwise. So you get the women's tag team title match we talked about. And Liv and Raquel are an afterthought because Becky Lynch came back. And Becky Lynch looked great. Looks like she missed being out there in the ring. And she looked good out there. The big time Bex thing that she went through on her last run, they threw that all away. They said, and in true NXT Triple H form, you want to go back to your regular gimmick? Well, she got to go back to her regular gimmick. She's back to being the man. Black and on black leather once again. Everything's back the way it was. And Becky Lynch helps out her girlfriend, Lyra Valkyria, who comes out with wings. That's all I could think about with that was the fact that she came out with wings. Whatever. She's an afterthought. Becky Lynch came out into this match. She gets the win on Liv Morgan and gets her pin back and wins the tag team title. So there's that. Okay. Maybe Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch will actually help out. Because obviously with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria, they were kind of helping each other out because of the fact that Lyra Valkyria in NXT, by working with Becky Lynch, got some rapport. So they're going to try to just repeat the same thing right now on the NXT, from the NXT side into the main roster side, see what something happens from that. Why not? Now into John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Again, methodical match. They decided to go this route. The Rock not being a part of this completely ruins the entire heel turn. And one of the storylines they brought up within the commentary from Wade Barrett, which would have been helpful, and maybe that's what they do with Cody Rhodes right now, is that he has doubts right now. Because John Cena basically just put Cody Rhodes back in the 2011-2012, where Cody Rhodes might have had doubts of him when he was Stardust, when he was dashing Cody Rhodes, and the inferiority of what he was when he left to make something of himself changed, right? Because Cody Rhodes now over a year as champion, got the run, had a long run as champion. They could have done a lot better with some of the feuds that he had him with when it came to the Bloodline, when it came to Kevin Owens, but they went where they went. So Cody Rhodes gets a decent title reign after Roman Reigns, after the long, 3.5 year, 4 year reign that Roman Reigns had. And that Cody Rhodes being the face now, having the year-long run as champion, fine with me. The timing is okay with me on that. John Cena be the opponent to go ahead and beat Cody Rhodes was fine with that. But people are going to shit over that finish. They hate that finish right there. Travis Scott, of all people, is the one that's going to be involved in this match. And that's it. Like, okay, Cody Rhodes doesn't get to go and hit him in the face after he gets hit in the eye, or whatever it was that after being slapped and punched by Travis Scott, all he gets to do is a crossroads on Travis Scott. Who cares? But Cody Rhodes is made to look like a doofus because first off, he stops himself from hitting John Cena with the belt. When you talk about the fact that he always has to become a different version of Cody Rhodes in order to keep winning, but the good guy in him doesn't allow to do that. And then the Travis Scott interference, and John Cena gets to go and use the belt anyway like he wanted to. Done. I wasn't big a fan about this finish either. Nobody was. But I'll tell you, I go back to after Survivor Series, everybody was getting onto this. And this is the funniest thing I saw among everything else that was going on. Among the things that I saw, what was it? Cultaholic Wrestling put out on X last night. They said, well, this has been a decent episode of Raw so far. That was talking about night one. But this is the overall right here. And this kind of encompasses the juvenile delusional fandom out there. So Survivor Series, after Survivor Series, they said the unofficial start of the most unimportant and unpredictable stretch in WWE history. Over the next 140 days, the return to Saturday Night's Main Event, Raw's Netflix debut, a second Saturday Night's Main Event on NBC, a dome-sized Royal Rumble, the Chamber of Skydome, and both nights of WrestleMania 41. So if Survivor Series felt somewhat underwhelming to you, it was likely by design. So this WrestleMania season had a whole lot of hype, which I didn't see where it was coming from. It didn't build up to that hype at all. I don't see it. I mean, I see a few things that it did overall with WrestleMania for the night and last night too that we can look forward to. But right now, there are so many stars that were stars at WrestleMania last year that now need rehab. I don't know what they're going to do with that. Roman Reigns, Gunther, Liv Morgan, I mean, you get Damian Priest in that mix. If you want to go ahead and add Charlotte Flair, I don't know if Charlotte Flair really counts as that, but there's just a number of stars that take losses here. I don't know what you do with them now. Of the stars we saw coming out of this, okay, Jey Uso, they're going to have a lot of things to work on with him. Jacob Fatu, they'll have a lot to do with him as champion. Fine. Tiffany Stratton now continues to hold the belt. What are you going to do with her? Seth Rollins now as a company with Paul Heyman. What are we going to do with that? Io Sky continues to hold on to the women's world title. What are we doing with her? Because I don't have a lot of easy ideas or anything being set up, seeds being planted to get started on that. Raw after WrestleMania has to go and do that. I'll see what they're going to do. The one standout for me is that John Cena is champion right now. And the retirement tour and the chase for someone to be the one that's going to knock him off of his 17th title reign and avoid him retiring with the belt. That will be the focus so far. And that's a storyline you don't have to go and tell much of. You just put different opponents up against him on all the dates he has left and let him win. But then towards the end, like say Survivor Series or whatever you want, he gets towards the end and John Cena sees the light at the end of the tunnel saying, oh, I'm going to retire with this belt. Here we go. And he doesn't. Only to be stopped by somebody that will be the next champion. That's what I guess will happen. But we'll get a good 6 months where he's not going to be worried about anything. He'll just be able to go and find his way to survive all the way across. The biggest problem we had about this is because of the fact that Rock wasn't even involved in all this at all. I mean, if you didn't want to go and tell the story about the selling of soul, if you didn't want to do that, I don't know. Like, could have done something there. Now, this is the only thing I could think that you could redeem right now with Cody Rhodes. What if Cody Rhodes now lost last night? As we're recording right now, this is Monday morning. So let's go and say that The Rock returns to the Raw at WrestleMania tomorrow night. This is just a thought. And then The Rock offers Cody Rhodes to sell his soul again. And Cody does. After what happened. Because he'll have been beaten down. His spirit will have been diffused. Because all this momentum of him being the American Nightmare, all the stuff the AEW, build up and all this that he had outside of the company, all for naught. So now what's the next phase of his career? Because Cody Rhodes now he could just tumble right back down to the mid card like he was before. Unless The Rock gives him his chance to sell a soul. And then Cody does it. If The Rock comes back tomorrow, that would be the reason he would come back. Because with John Cena, then you could just say, well, John Cena, I set up everything for him to go ahead and be a part of this. He already sold his soul, and now look what happened. John Cena's champion. Cody, you can be in the same room here. You can get the riches of what I did for John Cena. You can do the same. I can do the same for you here. I doubt he's going to come tomorrow, but you could have The Rock come back tomorrow to complete booze because he didn't show up at WrestleMania last night. And then do something like this. And that might be a redeeming thing for Cody Rhodes. Because what other stars do you have that are really like the main event level that we could care about? Because right now, in the current mix of things, Roman Reigns was the top star. You're now at the point where John Cena is your top star for the next 6 months. Because everyone else now has been put into under the ceiling. They're not the top draw right now. Cody Rhodes was at a certain level. Roman Reigns at a certain level, but they're not main event level where like they're more important than more important. Because if this company is obvious, and if you have a belt, maybe that means you mean something. But there are no stars that are standout overall. I don't think so. Like Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns are just like into its own. And CM Punk's also in the same rate. I don't know what we're getting out of this right now and what their roles are going to be, and what they're going to be used for going forward in the next 6 months. We'll find out, I guess. But I guess we don't find out about John Cena and the Rock and all that stuff until maybe Friday Night SmackDown, I guess. I don't know. I know tomorrow we'll probably get the Seth Rollins CM Punk or the Seth Rollins Paul Heyman situation. We'll probably get that first on Raw after WrestleMania tomorrow. They'll probably give us that, and then we'll see what else. Anyway, there's more to speculate. Let them untie and unwind this whole train wreck that they did this weekend with WrestleMania. Without any ideas of storylines or outcomes or where you go next, the whole state of the promotion is a jumble. It's just a big maze. I don't even know what you do without it. It's like this big knot of like, imagine if I have like, I'm trying to go and find a charger for my phone, and I have like 20 different chargers all tied up and knotted. So I have to go and spend time to untangle this web of all these chargers to go and find the one charger that I need out of all this, and be able to untangle it out of the cables of cables that I have that are all wrapped around each other in just one big net. That's what this feels like tonight. That's what the WWE feels like right now. Hey, that's their choice. And that's WrestleMania for this year on the Wrestling Observer Podcast. We'll come back for the Wednesday night show. We'll see if they can make something out of all this. Come back this Wednesday night because wrestling needs us.